Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Rochelle, and this time I be showing you how to fix some settings for Portal. In the case of my first episode, I was having a couple times where my computer or the game, I think a mix of both, we're having some issues where when it was either loading the next level in the elevator or kinda in the areas where it auto-saved a little further into the game, the game would kind of freeze up and the sound would sound like it was skipping. I don't know if it sounded like that I cut those parts of the episodes, but when I was going through and playing that, and even when I'm not recording anything, it would still go through and do that. And I'm running Windows 10. You could probably kind of tell. So I found out that to fix that, you can actually run the game in a compatibility mode. And like when I first played through the game, I think on my laptop, that was running an earlier version of Windows, and that seemed to work just fine. So I was confused as to why I was having these issues, and I couldn't really find it anywhere. So I'm going to show you how you fix that and to run it into compatibility mode. So if you're playing through the game just for fun, not recording anything or not doing anything in the background on your computer, this should be a fix for you. So the loading screens may still be long, but it won't skip at the times it seems like the game is auto-saving. So if you go to your Steam library folder, wherever that's stored on your computer, mine in my case is stored on a different part than where my Steam execution folder files are. So this may look a little different to you, but if you go to your Steam library, go into your Steam apps, go into Common, and then it lists all your apps, and you find Portal, and get into that folder, you see HL2 right here, .exe, and that's the Portal execution file. That's like what boots and runs the game, I think, if I remember things correctly. So if you click on it and highlight it, and then you right click on it, you can go all the way down to the bottom of this menu and hit Properties. And now you just go over to the Compatibility tab, and you can, if you're running Windows 10, or it might be on Windows 8 too, run the Compatibility Troubleshooter. If you try and do that and then test it in compatibility mode, it wants to read the HL2 folder files instead of the Portal folder files, so it doesn't quite work right. But when you're playing the game and just booting it through Steam, it will run just fine. So don't worry about the compatibility troubleshooter. You can go down to this little part where it says compatibility mode and run this program in compatibility mode, and then you have this long list of options of what you're running, which version of Windows, since 95 you want to run it in. If you're just playing the game, nothing going on in the background, all you're doing is playing through the game, other than maybe like your antivirus software or whatever, Windows 7 should work just fine. Like I've played it through on my desktop with Windows 7, nothing going on in the background. It's run just fine, doesn't freeze at the autosave spots, and like the elevator's just a little long, but not as long as it could be. But for my purposes, I have it down all the way down to Windows XP just for what I need it for, because otherwise it still skips just a bit when I'm running the other things. But if you're just running the game, just want to play through it on Windows 10 and it's not quite working right, run it in compatibility mode by checking the box, and running it down in Windows 7 should work just fine. Then you hit apply, OK, and go boot your game through Steam, which is down here, and it should run just all good. Should be all good. Be able to play through the game with minimal interruptions. And if it doesn't quite work right, you can mess around with like whichever version of Windows is best for like your system or anything. But mine right now, I'm going to actually put it back to Windows XP, because that's what I've been running it in for my purposes. But there you go. That's how you could fix that. This may also help for any of the other like orange box games if you're having that issue. That may be one of the first things you try. It doesn't mess with any of your systems. You're not going in and deleting any files or anything. But if you're finding you're having the issue where it seems to be either in loading zones or autosave zones where the game kind of crashes but doesn't fully crash and comes back after a while, try that. That may help you. May also not, but that's at least a start. So there you have it. That's how, and you could do that for any program too. So like maybe you have an old program off of like a ancient computer, being 5 years ago, computers all of a sudden ancient, and you want to run a program on that, but it's not compatible for this. You could go through and find that file and run it in a compatibility mode. That's it. Bye, everyone.